Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we take that pile of articles, research, notes you've been meaning to read, and distill them down into the important stuff. Think of it as your shortcut to being really well informed. We throw in some surprising facts, maybe a little humor just to keep you hooked. Today we're plunging into some really cutting-edge tech topics. We're looking at the future of gaming consoles, ethical smartphones, the huge implications of AI, and digital regulation too. Our mission really is to pull out the most impactful developments shaping tech right now, give you a clear picture of what's trending and why it actually matters. We've got 5 main areas to unpack today, and honestly, each one has some pretty eye-opening details, stuff that might genuinely change how you see your gadgets.
Absolutely. And what's really fascinating here isn't just the individual stories, it's how interconnected everything is. These different parts of the tech world, they influence each other in sometimes really surprising ways. We'll dig into not just what's happening, but why it's significant for you, especially if you're a tech enthusiast or just, a consumer, and maybe where it's all heading.
Okay, first up, let's dive right into gaming. Specifically, what Microsoft seems to be signaling about the future of Xbox. There's been a lot of swirling rumors, speculation, but our sources suggest we're finally getting clearer signals, like directly from the company. And this could really shake up the whole console scene.
Yeah, what's particularly revealing is how Microsoft's strategy is evolving. They seem to be moving pretty decisively beyond just thinking about a single traditional console box. Their new partnership with AMD, for instance, to co-engineer silicon, that suggests a really deep integration. They're leveraging AMD's expertise, especially in areas like AI. And it's not totally unique to Xbox, right? Sony's doing something similar with AMD for PlayStation. Nintendo's gone with NVIDIA for the Switch too. It seems clear that specialized silicon is, still king for these machines.
Right. But here's where it gets, I think, really interesting. Looking at the sources, Microsoft seems to be leaning into multiple form factors. We're seeing hints of maybe a handheld device alongside a next-gen TV console, possibly even a hybrid that kind of blurs the lines, a bit like the Nintendo Switch does. But the really radical part, the plan, potentially, to open up future Xbox consoles to other storefronts, like Steam.
Which is huge.
Yeah, Steam's got this massive ecosystem, like 170 million monthly active users? That's enormous.
Exactly. And that strategy, it's fundamentally about expanding their audience. I mean, their Play Anywhere thing already did wonders for gamers, offering flexibility between PC and console. But as one source pointed out, it arguably, nixed any reason to buy their dedicated hardware for some people.
So I can see that argument.
Yeah, but then others counter saying GPU prices keep them on consoles, or that, Xbox just offers a better TV experience even if you are a PC gamer. The underlying insight here seems to Microsoft's willingness to maybe sacrifice some short-term hardware sales, the exclusive box sales, for longer-term ecosystem dominance. They seem to be betting that a bigger user base across all platforms, not just console sales, is the real path to growth now.
Makes sense. So how's the community reacting? Predictably, I guess.
Oh, yeah. It's a mixed bag, as always. Some see it as a sign of weakness, right? They point to maybe dipping Xbox hardware sales. Then you've got this segment, the sort of vocal pessimists, people call them doomers online sometimes, who predict the end of Xbox as, a distinct platform.
Yep.
But they often get dismissed pretty quickly by others who are focused more on the verified info and the strategic shifts.
Right, separating the noise from the signal.
Exactly. So it's this heated debate. Is this the end game for the Xbox brand, or is it just evolving, maybe into something more like a gaming PC that's just perfectly suited for your living room? And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it looks like a really comprehensive ecosystem play. You've got Xbox PC, Xbox Console, Xbox Cloud, Xbox Mobile, all tied into Game Pass Ultimate.
It's everywhere.
Pretty much. The ultimate goal is likely licensing out a merged Windows Xbox OS to other manufacturers, OEMs for maybe pro versions of devices. It fosters this bigger device ecosystem where Xbox still aims to have the most powerful console crown, but the hardware itself.
Yeah.
Maybe built and sold by third parties. It's less about their box and more about their software and services being accessible everywhere.
Okay, so switching gears quite a bit now. From that big budget world of gaming strategy, let's zoom into something different in personal tech, the Fairphone 6. Rumors are suggesting an announcement maybe as early as June 25th. Potential price around, 549 euros? This isn't just about specs, though, is it? It's a brand built on a really powerful mission.
That's right. Fairphone's whole position is being fairer in every way. I mean, that includes being 100% e-waste neutral. So for every phone they sell, they collect and recycle an equivalent weight of electronic waste.
Wow.
Yeah, and over half its total weight is made from fair and recycled materials. That includes fair trade gold, fair tungsten. It's a pretty significant commitment.
And it goes deeper than just the materials, right? They're focusing on ethical manufacturing too.
Exactly. Final assembly happens in facilities meeting really high ethical standards. That means protecting workers, minimizing waste, and crucially, investing in living wage bonuses across their supply chain.
Living wage bonuses. That's something you basically don't hear about from other smartphone companies.
No, you really don't. It's a huge differentiator. But realistically, how much does that ethical angle outweigh concerns about, say, raw performance or missing features for the average person?
Yeah, that's the question.
That's the core tension, isn't it? Their approach highlights what they call impact innovation. It values how something is made and who benefits, right alongside the traditional performance metrics. It sort of challenges the tech industry's usual relentless focus on just the raw specs. It suggests that for, well, maybe a growing number of consumers, the story behind the device, its ethical footprint, is becoming just as important as its processor speed. And the community definitely talks about these trade-offs, like the Fairphone 5 offered a great 5-year warranty, updates until 2031, but some users are holding out for the 6, hoping for even longer software support, maybe up to 2033 if it gets 8 years, which would be pretty much unprecedented.
And we're seeing debates about specific features too, right? Like the headphone jack?
Yep. Some users are critical about the missing headphone jack or no wireless charging things that are pretty standard conveniences now.
Sure.
But then others really prioritize that core ethical concept above those features. And there's also this interesting angle about EU legislation, how it might actually push chip makers to provide longer software support generally.
Ah, so that could actually help Fairphone's whole model.
Exactly. It could directly benefit their longevity goals and kind of validate their approach. It creates this fascinating dynamic where, consumer values, corporate responsibility, and government regulation all start pushing in a similar direction.
That's a perfect segue, actually. From companies like Fairphone pushing for ethical change from within, it's a natural step to look at how governments are trying to enforce those kinds of principles, especially against the really big tech players. And on that front, the European Union has been really stepping up its game against giants like Google, Apple, Meta.
Absolutely. And the key question is how European regulators are tackling these huge companies. Since around 2010, the EU's been pretty aggressive investigating antitrust complaints against Google. That's resulted in massive fines, like over $8 billion across different cases involving Google Shopping, Android, AdSense.
Right, I remember the Android fine was huge.
Yeah, that was $4.3 billion for abusing its dominance with Android, basically by forcing pre-installation of Google apps and restricting competing versions of the OS.
And now we have the Digital Markets Act, the DMA, from 2023. That seems like a real game changer.
It really is. It designates these gatekeepers, Google, Apple, Amazon, Meta, and imposes what they call ex-ante obligations, meaning rules applied before the competitive harm happens, trying to prevent anti-competitive behavior before it even starts rather than just punishing it afterwards.
Okay.
And we've already seen it in action. Apple got fined $500 million for App Store restrictions. Meta got penalized $200 million for its whole payer consent data model.
So what's the fundamental difference here between how the EU handles this versus, say, the US?
That's a crucial point. The EU primarily focuses on this idea of abusive dominance, which means setting clear standards for what fair competition looks like, even if consumer prices aren't immediately going up. The U.S. historically has put more weight on consumer welfare, which often translates to looking at whether prices for consumers have increased. That can make it harder to tackle issues in new industries, like AI, where maybe lots of innovation is happening without immediately raising prices for users.
I see. So the EU framework might be better suited for upcoming challenges, like with AI.
Arguably, yes, because their framework is more proactive and less tied strictly to immediate price effects. It's potentially better equipped to handle the unique market dynamics AI might create.
And these regulations, they're not just about the fines, are they? There are other costs.
Oh, definitely. Companies face, as analysts put it, a long-term erosion of margins, operational complexity, and reputational risks. Compliance costs alone for big tech could reach something like 2–5% of their annual revenues, according to estimates. It's really becoming a new era where they can't just treat regulation as a, cost of doing business. It's fundamentally reshaping how they operate.
It sounds like they can't just ask for forgiveness anymore. They actually have to ask for permission first.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Okay, let's shift gears again to something critical that touches almost everything in tech now. the environmental impact of artificial intelligence. It's a huge concern, growing really rapidly, but maybe often hidden from view.
It really is. AI's energy consumption is just soaring. The International Energy Agency estimates that by 2026, the global AI industry could consume at least 10 times the energy it did back in 2023.
10 times. Wow.
Yeah. And EU data centers specifically, expected to see a 30% jump by 2026, mainly due to more AI computations. To put it in perspective for you, like, one single request you make to ChatGPT uses about 10 times as much electricity as a regular Google search.
Okay, that really puts it into perspective.
And we're seeing the impact already. Google's greenhouse gas emissions went up 48% in 5 years, largely attributed to AI growth. Microsoft, Meta, similar stories.
That sounds incredibly bleak, like AI is just this massive environmental problem we're creating.
Yeah.
But is there another side to it? Is it maybe also part of the solution? It feels a bit like, are AI chatbots slowly cooking the planet? Maybe we should all just switch back to pigeons for a week.
Huh. Well, it is a really compelling paradox. Can AI actually help lessen its own impact or maybe even tackle broader environmental issues? And the answer, maybe surprisingly, is yes. Well-designed AI systems, they can process real-time data from IoT devices to monitor sustainability stuff, track deforestation using satellite images, optimize supply chains to cut emissions drastically, improve energy efficiency in smart buildings. The potential for optimization is actually immense.
That is a powerful counterargument. So given this kind of dual nature, huge energy hog, but potential problem solver, what are governments and big companies actually doing about it? Are they trying to regulate the impact or push the solution side?
They're definitely grappling with it. The EU, for instance, is keen to regulate AI's environmental impact through its European Green Deal. They specifically want to use AI to help meet sustainability goals. They're talking about assessing the environmental risks of AI systems, maybe even restricting market access for systems that don't implement emission reductions.
Proactive.
Yeah. Germany has its AI Lighthouses program, which actively funds AI projects aimed at environmental solutions. And maybe the most striking example, Microsoft actually made a deal to reopen the 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant.
Seriously.
Yep. To provide 100% of its power for 20 years, specifically for their AI data centers. That's a huge long-term commitment to cleaner energy for AI.
Wow. Okay, that's significant.
Yeah.
Right. Finally, let's zoom out again to how we're actually playing our games and the incredible, almost explosive growth of cloud gaming. It feels like it's poised to redefine what a console even is anymore.
Oh, absolutely. The cloud gaming market is seeing just exponential growth. It was valued around $3.8 billion in 2023, projection $35 billion by 2029.
$35 billion. That's staggering growth.
It is. And it's being driven mostly by better 5G connectivity, becoming more widespread, consumers getting more comfortable with the idea, and importantly, the rising cost of traditional gaming hardware. Powerful consoles, high-end GPUs, they're expensive. Cloud gaming offers a much more cost-effective way in for a lot of people.
That kind of growth sounds like a bit of a gold rush. So who are the main players really grabbing that market share right now?
Well, Microsoft's Xbox Cloud Gaming is currently the dominant force. They've got over half the market share right now.
Over half, okay.
Yeah. But you've got other key players definitely in the mix. NVIDIA, GeForce Now, Sony's PlayStation Cloud, Amazon Luna. They're all vying for a piece of that rapidly expanding pie. And the rise of subscription services is a huge factor here. Xbox Game Pass, you mentioned it earlier, over 33 million subscribers by the end of 23. PlayStation Now, even bigger, over 47 million. These services offer huge game libraries for a flat monthly fee, making gaming way more accessible. And mobile cloud gaming is also just surging, thanks to smartphones everywhere and 5G rolling out. You can get high-quality gaming without needing super powerful hardware in your hand.
It definitely sounds like cloud gaming is where things are headed. But with that kind of rapid expansion, are there significant hurdles? What are the main challenges the industry is still facing?
Oh, for sure. There are challenges. Content licensing is one. Game libraries on cloud services can still be limited compared to what you can play on a traditional console or PC, especially older titles you might already own.
Right. You might not find all your favorite classics.
Exactly. And scalability is a big one, too. There's almost this one-to-one relationship between the server resources needed and the number of active users. That requires massive, ongoing capital investment in data centers and infrastructure.
Makes sense.
But despite those hurdles, services like Xbox Cloud Gaming keep evolving. They're adding features like Clarity Boost for better visuals. There's Stream Your Own Game, or SYO, which lets you stream games you've actually purchased, not just the ones in Game Pass.
Oh, that's a good addition.
Yeah, and it supports a wider range of controllers now. Bluetooth, touch controls on screens, and increasingly even mouse and keyboard support. So they're really pushing flexibility across all sorts of devices, from your phone right up to your smart TV.
Wow, what a deep dive that was. We've covered a lot of ground. From those intriguing shifts in Xbox strategy, the ethical considerations with Fairphone, navigating the complex world of EU antitrust versus big tech.
Yeah, grappling with AI's huge environmental footprint, but also its surprising potential as maybe part of the solution.
Right, and then ending with the dramatic rise of cloud gaming.
These trends really do highlight just how interconnected our digital world is, don't they? The hardware we use, the ethics behind how it's made, the regulations trying to keep up, the underlying tech like AI and cloud, it's all shaping how we interact with devices, consume content, and even how global powers kind of exert influence. It's such a dynamic, constantly changing landscape.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? As these huge companies keep innovating, adapting, especially under this increasing scrutiny, how is your relationship with technology going to change in the next few years? Will that push for more sustainable tech, like Fairphone represents? Will it actually become a dominant force? Or will performance always kind of win out in the end? And will those lines between a dedicated gaming console and, say, a powerful living room PC, will they just completely blur? Well, we hope this deep dive has given you plenty to chew on, armed you with some fascinating insights. That's it for this week. If you enjoyed the episode, you know the drill. Like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions.